Good morning. Hi, friends. Hey, Bougie Gang. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for getting here. Good morning, you guys. Happy Friday. Good morning. Okay. Y'all, we have some court to catch up on. So we're just gonna get right on into it, y'all. We got a lot to catch up on. So we're just gonna let it rip. Good morning, DMV. Thank you for getting here first. Honey, say that. And Nesto's handy girl. Hey boo. Hey, good morning. Good morning. Good morning to everybody. Tap in as you come in. Drop your manicure emojis. I definitely need to go and get to the salon this weekend. So I'm giving you some virtual manicure emojis. Okay. Sis got to get herself together. Um, how is everybody doing? Okay, so this morning I dropped a short. Basically, so yesterday I did see this when it happened, like pretty much almost right after it happened. I think when I was live, this was happening. We were talking about something else, and when I got off the live, it. I saw this in my feed, and I was like, I didn't think anything was scheduled, but as fate would have it, eh, let me add this to. Okay. So Kelly Marie Bryant, if you're up on my shorts, um Kelly Marie Bryant had a emergency meeting set yesterday because ma'am missed a um a examination that she was supposed to have done. If you recall, a couple of weeks ago, maybe not a couple, let's just say about a month ago, Kelly was supposed to start trial. Who's Kelly? So let me just go back for a second. Kelly is the mommy, the trash can mommy who left her kids to fend for themselves. If you were in members, you already heard this. We talked about this morning in members. If you're not in members, you don't know what you're missing. Okay. You don't know what you're missing. We go live. We've been live every morning all week and we're on some can't stop, won't stop. So we talked about this a little bit this morning. But Kelly was supposed to be in at a like an examination for her competency. Why her lawyers, if they thought there was an issue with her competency, did not request a competency evaluation a year ago? I don't know. Anybody who would leave their kids to fend for themselves for a year deserves to be examined. That needs to be studied. What mother, what father, not just leave your kid behind, because we've seen that. That exists in our society. There are people that turn their back on their kids. They leave them with another parent, they leave them with another responsible adult, they walk away. This person left them in a location to fend for themselves with food deliveries. Okay. And in her sick, demented way, I guess maybe she thought she was seeing about them. I don't know, but it definitely deserves to be studied and talked about. Um, so she's already copped a plea. She pled no contest to welfare fraud, but she has quite a few. She has felony child abuse charges, and 3 days before trial, her lawyer decides to tell the judge that she thinks she needs a competency evaluation, even though this occurred 14, 15, 16 months ago. Why didn't she get checked all that time ago? Why are we wasting time? Why are we doing this right before trial? So, as you know, if you've been following this, it's in a playlist on my channel. Kelly was in jail for like 6, 7 months. We were going back and forth. She had a crazy, super duper high bond. They finally, once she got to this woman's court, this lady right here, this judge, is the one who gave her an opportunity and gave her what appears now to be a reasonable bond. And she was able to get her behind right up out of there. She's, and girl, and just now, allegedly, we'll talk about that when it comes up in the hearing, got herself a job. She's been out for 6, 7, 8 months. Anyway, she was supposed to be, she's already pled no contest, so she's going to prison. We just don't know how long. She hasn't been sentenced yet. And she was supposed to have her trial. I think they wanted her sentence for everything all at once. Well, the trial got delayed because her lawyer, Miss Kirangongo, if you remember her, the Swedish lady who talks and run on sentences, no periods, no breaks, all gas, no breaks talking. She's not here today. And there's this emergency meeting. Kelly's got to answer for why she opted to go for some sort of medical treatment when she was due to be at a competency for her trial. So the judge called bullshit, called emergency hearing. Here's Kelly in court. Let's go.
Kelly Bryant.
Thank you. Ma'am, can you stand and identify yourself?
Kelly Bryant.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, we scheduled this for an accelerated review with regard to competency because we received 2 letters from the Center for Forensic Psychiatry, one dated March 30th. Well, the first one was, March 30th, indicating that she had a evaluation scheduled for Thursday, April 16th at 9 a.m. And then we got a letter March 6th that the original date was April 14th. So first letter said she was supposed to be evaluated April 14th at 9 a.m. Second letter said that was rescheduled to April 16th at 9 a.m. And then our most recent communication from the Center for Forensic Psychiatry is that she failed to appear for her competency evaluation. So I want to be caught up in terms of why she failed to appear. And I'll want some details in terms of how we got in this situation.
Now, keep in mind, we just watched a sentencing for a woman, Terry Johnson, who similar set of circumstances, a little bit different there, but she's still in Pontiac nonetheless, not the same judge. Do you recall I'll bubble that one up. It was maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. Her name is Terry Trinice or something Johnson. And she left her kids to fend for themselves, not as severely as this woman, but still felony child abuse nonetheless. They gave her, why does it keep escaping me? I think they gave her 20 years. I think they gave her somewhere between 11 to 20 years. I think they gave her 129 to 240 months. Yeah, she has to do a minimum of right at 11. And she'll be eligible for parole up to 20, and then she's out the door at 20. That's what Terry Johnson got in Oakland County, not with this same judge. Kelly Bryant is fucked, because if that's what they gave Terry who came in on a guilty plea, that's what she got on I'm not even gonna play with y'all. I'm going to just go ahead and come in on a guilty. Kelly better stop playing with this lady, because this lady is not playing with her anymore.
The last hearing, when she requested an evaluation through counsel of competency, literally the last interaction between Ms. Kirandongo and this court was, I said, she better show up for that appointment, because I had questions about the timing of it in light of the fact that the request was made 3 business days prior to trial, that everybody was ready to go on, and everybody assured me they were ready to go on. I questioned the timing of it. By law, when it's raised, I've got to address it, and I referred her, but with trepidation. I said to Ms. Kirandongo, she better make that appointment.
Do you see how she's laying the foundation on the record? She's laying out everything that occurred leading up to she's laying out her reservations, she's laying out the consideration, all of this. Kelli better leave that lady alone. You gonna end up spending the rest of your life in prison, which that's on her. You know what I'm saying? The average woman is not leaving their kids to fend for themselves in period. And the average woman is definitely, even the average bum woman, mother, would never leave their kids in the condition that she left her kids in. So Kelli is on some stuff we don't normally see. The type of stuff that, you know, is not even really talked about, because it's almost inconceivable to think that you would leave humans, let alone your own flesh and blood, in such a condition. But she did. And then she has the nerve. Every time she's been in court, she's so sassy. She's so disrespectful with her lawyer. And at the end of the day, I don't know that this judge right here is going to have any mercy on her at all, especially when the kids come to talk. I don't know. I feel like they're trying to buy time, and Kelli's going to try to come in on a guilty plea, but I don't know if that's going to help her, because she has dragged this out. The thing about Terry Omas, I think got caught like 6 months ago in this situation, and she went ahead and expedited her guilty. Kelli has been dragging this out. Like, these are your kids. You were responsible. You already pled no contest to the welfare fraud. So you may as well either come, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you're no contest, if you're not going to dispute the welfare fraud, that basically you took government funds for the upkeep and nourishment of your kids, and the food and the funds were not going in that direction, then you already kind of have came in on a guilty for the child abuse, because part of the child abuse is not tending to your kids' basic needs, one of them feeding them. And so I think it's kind of almost a little bit hand in hand. It's not a complete admission of guilt, but girl, those are your kids, nobody else's fault. So I don't know. The fact that she is really dragging this out, I think this judge is going to, they're going to give her the smackdown. If they don't, I'm going to be very surprised. Good morning, everybody.
I'll get
welcome. Tap in as you come in.
She does, or words to that effect, because I rewatched it yesterday, and I said she better make that appointment. And Miss Karen Dongo said she will make that appointment. So receiving a letter dated April 15th from the Center for Forensic Psychiatry saying she did not show up is very troubling. They also remind the court that they are scheduled their schedules are packed. That's not the words they use, but their schedules are packed. And the author says, given the high rate of unused appointments due to defendant no-shows within the context of the high number of defendants awaiting evaluation, it's not feasible for the center to repeatedly schedule defendants on bond who fail to comply with the court's order. Mr. Gonick, why didn't she show up? First of all, do either of you know why it was moved from the 14th to the 16th?
I don't.
I believe I do.
Okay. Why?
I believe, if I could have one moment, Judge. I think it was, there was a proceeding before Judge Langston scheduled on the 14th.
So it was initially the best interest hearing, which Ms. Bryant did not appear at. It was scheduled for 2 days initially. So that was 4/13 and 4/14.
Okay.
So that would likely be why it was.
All right. So a request was made, I'm assuming on her behalf, so that she could attend the other hearing as well, to move it to the 16th.
That's what I believe. I can't say that for certain, Judge.
Okay. That makes sense. But all right. Why wasn't she there on the 16th?
She wasn't there on the 16th because
Well, did she hear Miss Ferenczi say there was a best interest hearing that Miss Bryant didn't even go to? So the initial evaluation was the 14th. It was moved to the 16th because she needed to go to a best interest. I don't know if there was something regarding the children and the best interest of the children, whatever the case might be. There was some sort of a hearing on the 14th. She asked for it to be moved to the 16th. Miss Ferenczi, the prosecutor, low key stated, if you heard her, she didn't even go. I don't think the judge even caught that tea.
on April 13th, she went to Common Ground and she was admitted to Common Ground.
Okay, did she go there voluntarily or was it an involuntary referral? So did law enforcement come and say somebody has concerns about you being a threat of harm to yourself or others? Or did she take herself to Common
I
Ground?
believe it was upon the recommendation of your social worker, correct? Her social worker recommended that she go there because of issues that she was having, and she was admitted there and she couldn't discharge herself after she was admitted.
Okay, so the recommendation is still voluntary from this court's perspective. Nobody filed paperwork that ordered her to Common Ground, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so when you say once she was admitted, so she was admitted on April 13th, once she
Correct.
was admitted, she can't remove herself from that setting?
Correct.
Why?
Because she was committed to the mental health ward for mental health issues that she was having.
Is there an order of commitment that she can't volunteer? When you voluntarily tender, sometimes they do have you at hospitals, they have you sign something that says, I'm going to follow doctor's orders and I won't leave without, but there isn't court authority behind it. Did she sign something that said, I can't leave?
Could I have one moment?
Yes, sir. Sure.
I'll check with you in a second.
If I may, while Mr. Donick is looking through the paperwork.
Yeah, just, I want to give him an opportunity here and respond if need be, but what information? do you
Just to
have?
provide you some context about what happened, from my perspective on April 13, 2026 for the best interest hearing. Ms. Karen Dongo did represent Ms. Bryant at that proceeding as well. She provided to the court that Ms. Bryant was attempting to voluntarily admit herself.
Okay, that
That is what she presented to
all
the
right.
court on that.
If there's paperwork that says that she can't leave, I would like to see it.
There is nothing in this paperwork. If I could have one moment.
Sure.
My client indicates that there was a petition when she was at Common Ground that she couldn't leave. And I know that she wasn't discharged until April 22nd.
Filed by who?
I don't know, and I don't know if that's accurate or if she misunderstood it. I don't want to represent that as a fact without verifying it.
Because we were provided, I think by Ms. Karen Dago, but I don't know. We were provided something from,
I believe that the court provided the discharge plan.
from Pontiac General.
Right. And I think that's part of Common Ground.
If she voluntarily, this is what I was concerned about. I was concerned about game playing. She knew that she had a set appointment for a competency evaluation on the 16th of April. The date changed at her request because she had other court proceedings. And 3 days prior to that hearing, I'm hearing she voluntarily presented herself to Common Ground.
My client is stating they wouldn't allow her to leave.
I want to see something.
Can I have time to get something? Like write call or, but they petitioned me. When I was there at Common Ground, they told me. And they
Who's
said-
they? Who
At
filed
Common
the
Ground.
petition?
I'm not sure. But when I was at Common Ground, they said, we're petitioning you, you can't leave. Like, you won't be able to leave, you will be trained.
Who told her to talk to the judge? That's what you have a lawyer for. Why are you talking to the judge, ma'am? See,
So what paperwork did you get when you were discharged ultimately?
All this documentation that Mr. Donna has.
All right, I'll look at anything you got. I wanted, this is 3 days before the termination hearing I'm not involved in, so I don't know how those dates got set or how you were informed. The last conversation we had was, this is an important appointment and you're going to it.
Mhm.
And then 3 days prior to that appointment, there's a voluntary tender to Common Ground. Whether it was recommended or not, she wasn't court ordered.
I understand. I understand what the court is saying.
So
May I
does she have a
approach?
petition? Yes.
There's
Does
not a
somebody-
petition in here. There are medical records here other than the discharge summary. If the
Have
court-
you had an opportunity to see them? Do you want to see them?
Just briefly.
Yeah, I'm looking for language in any of that paperwork that says she was not free to leave.
I didn't see any such language when I went through it.
Thank you, sir.
Judge, if I may say something,
Can I ask this? Who did she contact when she took herself to Common Ground? Who did she let know? I'm taking myself to Common Ground. I might not make my April 16th appointment.
she let Ms. Kirandongo know, who did inform the forensic center. I do have those emails.
We did not receive any notification. We received notification from the forensic center that she failed to appear.
No, there was written, and it was provided.
I'm not questioning your candor.
Yeah,
I
okay.
believe you. But we did not know. You started to talk though. I think you started to talk before I had that question. Go ahead.
I did,
Mr.
if I may.
Sir.
I would just, based on the fact that she was admitted, she was there for nearly 9 days in the mental health ward. I would, although there's no paperwork and I understand the court's concern, I would assume that if she tried to leave against medical advice, they would have petitioned her.
That's a different situation though.
I
That's
understand. I'm just.
Can I see what you've got? I'll be happy to take a look at what you've got.
Sure. Do you want to see the emails too?
No, I believe you. You were indicating as an officer of the court that Ms. Kirndine would let the forensic center know.
Yes.
Thank you. That's important because somebody else could be slotted then. Thank you. All right, this I've seen. Thank you. All right, so I'm looking at discharge paperwork.
I'm going to just say this real quick. I think Miss Kirangongo, if you go into the playlist and look at the interaction between Kelly and Miss Kirangongo, I think Miss Kirangongo needs to tighten up a little bit. And I think Kelly probably takes advantage of her niceness, or maybe she just straight up falls for the okie doke. I don't know, but they got Miss Kirangongo out here looking bad. I mean, they got you, Kelly got you out here rearranging appointments. Kelly is not showing up handling her business. You're going into the courtroom looking very sus that your client is running the show when you're supposed to be managing this case. That's what the state is paying you for. And if this person was able to make good decisions, she wouldn't be in this trouble right now. So Kelly seems to be trying to be a boss of everybody. to the point where she's even over here addressing the court directly when you have a whole lawyer in a suit standing right next to you who might have been able to help the situation some, but you know, some people can't help themselves. She can't help herself. And the girl, do you guys see like almost a little cloud of dust over her head? Is it just me, or does girl, why is it looking a little dusty over her head? It's crazy. Kelli does not seem to do herself any favors at all.
So they provided her with a number of coping skills, and it looks like discharged her stable. I think this is the same.
I think the judge, she's just at this point, she's just looking for receipts
All right, and you
to
can
justify
look
what she
at
getting ready to do. Oops, my bad.
Thank you. Thank you. We have a real problem. She is stable now. I am inclined to revoke her bond and have her evaluated by a representative from the Forensic Center. And then I'll await a motion once her evaluation is done from Defense Counsel. Once that's achieved, she failed to appear for that appointment. I articulated really clear concerns about her failure to appear. She's entitled to a trial. The people are entitled to a trial. Child witnesses, and everybody was ready to go. And 3 business days before that, she said, I need an evaluation for competency. Okay, I signed the order. She gets the evaluation for competency. I articulated my concerns about her failure to appear. And 3 days before her scheduled appointment, she voluntarily takes herself to common ground. I'll hear you, Mr. Gonick, and I'll hear you, counsel, but I'm inclined to revoke her bond so that this competency that she asked for can take place.
I understand the court's thinking. I would just point out that she went to common ground on the recommendation of her social work because of mental health issues she discussed with her social worker. When she went to common ground, I understand. When she went to common ground, she was admitted. It wasn't like a discharge within 24 hours or even 48 or 72 hours. It appears that she was there over a week. I would point that out. And after that time, as the court indicates, she was discharged in a stable condition. I would also point out, and we haven't discussed this yet before the judge or before the court makes a final decision on
Yes,
this,
sir.
that she has obtained, since that she has obtained employment or she has a job and, in accordance with the court's direction. I would, I would respectfully ask the court to give her one more opportunity.
When did she get the job?
It looks like she got a text today at 11:14.
Thank you.
Girl, text me right before I go into court, something like, be at the job at 10:30. Okay. That's not a job. You don't have a job until you start the job. That's not a job. That's a job offer. Once you clock in first day, you have a job. Right now, you have an offer of employment. Maybe. A text? Boo-boo. Have you even passed the background check?
Okay.
Counsel.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, the court has already outlined the concerns that the court has about the potential of a delay tactic and the court is aware that the people have those same concerns. This is not a new concern. The issues that I have is that we had this discussion February 25th, 2026, where there was this discussion about recommendations from a social worker for her to voluntarily be admitted for an inpatient psychiatric treatment. 2 months later, she didn't do anything in that period of time. The people are not aware of any sort of attempts to hospitalize during that time. 2 months later, the day of our best interest hearing, which of course is a different court, but it is still very much an important proceeding, she failed to appear, and counsel reported at that time that she was again attempting to voluntarily admit herself to common ground, which she ultimately did. But my issue is that this date has been known by the court, by the people, by Ms. Bryant.
It's obvious Kelli is trying to prolong this out. She pled no contest on the welfare fraud. The day she's supposed to be sentenced for welfare fraud, and 3 days before the trial on the child abuse, all of a sudden she needs a competency evaluation. She's loco. You hadn't had no evaluation a whole year. You were doing okay. Now all of a sudden you need to be sentenced for the food stamps, and it's a problem. 3 days before you're supposed to be sentenced or going for trial on the child abuse, now you need a competency evaluation. You have an appointment for the competency evaluation. You can't make it in because you got to go checked in on some on whatever. You don't know how to handle life. The best interest hearing, you can't show up. The best interest hearing is 2 days before the competency evaluation. You can't show up. It's just too many situations now that are coming up where Kelli will show up to court, but she's not showing up to handle the things revolving around court, which is probably why she doesn't have her kids, which is why her kids now belong to someone else. I think her parental rights, excuse me, she was stripped of her parental rights. Fast forward if you didn't know. Her parental rights have been stripped. I don't think she wanted them anyway. And she's clearly got issues.
By her counsel, it was a well-known date. It feels.
Girl, let me tell you something. She should have been scared when she spent not the first night, the second night, the first, when she hadn't seen her kids in a week, when you hadn't dropped off food, you didn't know if they had anything to eat, when you saw the condition of that fucking toilet in that nasty apartment, when you knew they didn't have a washer and dryer, when you knew they didn't have soap, when you didn't know they didn't have a toilet that could flush or they could take a shower, when they didn't have clean clothes, you hadn't seen your daughter, you haven't combed nobody's hair, you hadn't took nobody to the barber shop, you hadn't ran anybody to the doctor, to the hospital, you hadn't gave a hug, you hadn't had a conversation, you didn't pick up your phone. That's when she needed to be scared. Don't be scared now. When you started neglecting those children, that's when you needed to be scared.
Very suspicious that the day of her best interest hearing is the day that she tries to go to common ground. And I do want to be clear that I'm not, and the people are not dismissing any sort of legitimate mental health concerns, because if that is what is happening with Ms. Bryant, that needs to be addressed. There's no question about that. The court is also allowed to look at the timing of this, the pattern of this, and the history of this case. And it appears more losing as what's been happening for the past few months. And it's just another attempt to delay these proceedings. And it's another attempt where there's no accountability.
Where is she employed as of 11 o'clock today?
It is, if I could, it looks like it's called in a place called Rolling Logistics. It's on Ecorse Road.
You know, I'm over here searching rolling logistics.
and Romulus. And it says, this is a, if I could read the,
Sure.
because it says, this is a delivery position delivering in the Shelby Township area. When we meet tomorrow, I will be complete. Driver sign up and documentation. I mean, it looks like an orientation. I don't know.
Okay.
Okay, so you don't have a job. Rolling logistics is some sort of, maybe they deliver Amazon packages. It's probably some sort of gig type situation. I don't see her getting a valid job with 2 pending felonies of this nature. It's possible she has not been convicted, but companies can reserve the right to make hiring decisions, and based on what her criminal background is completely, she, you know what I mean, we don't even know. It doesn't seem like she's even completed the hiring process yet. You're not employed, sis. I don't even know why you're trying to sit there and lie to a judge. That is absolutely foolish.
Thank you. Because there has been an ongoing issue with my concerns that she has not made efforts to be employed. She's not currently on a tether, although a tether was ordered at the district court level because she can't afford to pay for the tether. But then there's the circular situation of she's not employed, so she can't afford to pay for the tether. Does she want to say anything? You've been most articulate on her behalf. If she wants to say something, she's welcome to, but I am inclined to revoke her bond. She sits before the court stable. The timing is very suspicious. It's 3 days before trial that she's asking for competency evaluation, and it's 3 days before the competency evaluation that she's voluntarily admitting herself to a facility. Do you want to talk? Do you want to talk to your lawyer before you say something?
I mean, if you had missed court dates, you'd be locked up.
I just,
Yeah. Your Honor, I mean, she just wants me to reiterate that she had up.
I can speak.
Go ahead.
I just want to express that.
Girl, you are dumber than dumb. He was going to preface, he was trying to tee it up for you, dress it up and sound it a little bit better. But okay, I can speak for myself. Okay, let's see. I can speak for myself how that's going to work. Let's see if that works for you.
Yeah. Your Honor, I mean, she just wants me to reiterate that she had up.
I can speak.
Go ahead.
I just want to express that this wasn't a delay tactic or anything like that. Like, I went because I had something going on this week. I wasn't unaware that they were going to keep me because I had went before and they did not keep me. They allowed me to go home. So when I went there, it was a shock to me that they were admitting me. That was my first time being admitted somewhere, my first time even going through like this type of situation with them. I wasn't aware of all that was what was going to happen. And I did let them know when they let me know I was admitted that I had that important evaluation coming up. They told me that if they needed to get in contact with me, that they would contact them at Pontiac General and I would still be able to have the evaluation done. And while I was there, that's what they told me. So, but nothing ever happened. But I mean, this was not a delay detected. I understood how important it was for me to be there. And I do understand how important it is that I have it, considering that me and my attorney did request that I do have one. But it's not.
Girl, she has that mask on for a prop. So it's probably a prop. I mean, nobody cares at this point. I mean, if she has the vid, she shouldn't be out. If she has the vid, she should be in the hospital. If like why she's wearing that mask, girl.
A delay, a tactic, or anything like that. Like, I've been coming to my court dates. I'm here. I'm punctual. Like, I've done everything. I haven't violated my bond.
You don't get a cookie for coming to court on time. You get not arrested for coming to court on time and when you're supposed to be there. You don't get a cookie for that.
I report like I'm supposed to.
Well, technically, you're supposed to be on a tether, right?
Yes, but that was due to not being able to afford it. And you said look for a job. On top of my paperwork, it has that I applied for 54 jobs on Indeed. It's at the top of my screenshot with my scheduled interview for May 6th.
also have a scheduled interview for May 6th as well. So I've been doing what you said, do. Like I've done everything. I really sincerely.
You're supposed to be on a tether. You can't be on. So we don't know where you are. As far as being monitored, she could be in the wind. She could have been in Las Vegas last week for all we know. You know what I mean? Like she's supposed to be on a tether. Clearly she stretches the truth. So nobody knows where she is. Nobody knows what she's doing. You can't have a tether because the state's not paying for it. I don't know why the state's not paying for it, but whatever.
Me for all of this to go like this. I did not think they were going to keep me. I did not want to be admitted, but they told me I was petitioned, and when you're petitioned, you have to stay.
But you acknowledge you voluntarily went to Crime and Ground.
No, my CNS worker, they felt like I needed to go. I need to go and be evaluated.
And you voluntarily did that?
Oh, yes, I did go. But I felt I did need to be seen. Considering what I was going through, I did need to be seen.
I am respectfully revoking bond. You voluntarily tendered yourself 3 days prior to the competency evaluation that you requested, 3 days before the trial that you are entitled to.
I'm not allowed to seek mental health.
When you're evaluated by a representative from the Forensic Center, then I will expect that one of your attorneys will be filing a motion for the court to address bond, and we'll address tether, and we'll address employment again.
I won't have any issues with making my next away. I found a job. Please do not put me back in custody. I've really done everything.
Ms. Bryant, bond is revoked for your failure to appear for your competency evaluation that you knew about.
Girl. Miss Bryant, your bond is revoked.
Pardon?
When will I be evaluated? Girl, you got trial coming up in a couple of months. Her trial is in a couple of months, girl. I don't think she's gonna get out.
Oh, yes. Yeah, you know what? We need a new order, or a new re-referral for competency, which will happen sooner now.
Girl.
We need a new order.
How quickly, you guys, we've watched Afeni Muhammad. Did that guy, her lawyer with the man bun, didn't he come in right in? He saw Afeni Muhammad and was like, yo, she needs to be evaluated. Before we get deep into this, can we go ahead and get her checked out? And what did they do? They got her checked out immediately, right? Attitude and Tylenol, it's your birthday? Happy birthday, Attitude and Tylenol. Happy birthday, sis. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, sis. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Is it today or it's this weekend? Let me see. It's my birthday. It's my 39 ball. What? Girl, happy birthday. Okay. All right, let's finish this up and then we'll have a little praise break for Attitude and Tylenol's birthday.
A new re-referral for competency, which will happen sooner now, which I appreciate. I still have the matter scheduled.
Man, shut up. You are not to address this court. They gave you an opportunity. It's over.
Sooner now, which I appreciate. I still have the matter scheduled for trial in June. I'm going to keep that date. I think the odds of getting the evaluation done and a report back that soon are unlikely. That's why it was important for you to make the appointment that was scheduled for you and moved for you to accommodate your trial dates. Would you do the new competency
Yes, of course.
referral? I'll sign it as soon as I see it.
I just wanted to note that we do have a review date, regardless, you would have had it for May 27th.
Let's keep
For a
that.
trial. Yes.
Let's keep that. All right.
Okay, so May 27th, there's a review date. They usually give like 30 or 45 days for these I think they said, I was watching something else and they were talking about a competency review needs to be done within 30 days and it has to be reviewed within 5. I don't know what state I was watching, but they were talking about that recently. So I don't know if the same rules apply, but she's due for trial next month in June. Now the judge is saying that's probably not going to happen, but we're going to keep it anyway, just in case. Kelli, your ass is grass. And this judge is now, I think she's got you on her radar now. Your ass is grass with her. You've already pled no contest on welfare fraud, stealing the folk money and squandering it.
Thank you.
All set?
Yes.
Ma'am, you got a partner?
Hold on, wait. Let's catch the full shackle shuffle. Bye, Kelly. So
Let's keep
For a
that.
trial.
Yes, let's keep that. All right. Thank you.
All set?
girl, Kelly, bye.
You got a partner?
Oh my goodness. Girl, Kelly, come on now.
Yeah. thank
Thank you.
Court is in recess, all rise.
Thank you, councils.
you.
Thanks for being on time and prepared.
Girl. Thank you for being on time and prepared. The struggle is real. I feel like that should be just a certain level of expectation to be on time and prepared. I don't know. Okay. So after this happened, Oakland County, I was looking for her mugshot. Here's the fresh mugshot. Here's her fresh. I guess they made her take her hair down. I guess you can't have a rubber band. I don't know. I'm surprised they made her take her hair down. Maybe they had to check her puff to make sure nothing was in it. But baby, sis. But that's her new fresh mugshot. Ma'am has been remanded into custody. I don't think by the time they get her evaluation done and by the time she goes to court, I don't think the judge is going to let her back out, because what is there to do? Court is coming. You had failure to appears for evaluations. Who is going to let her out? You are feral. You're just wild. You want to just be outside, and that's your problem. You wanting to be outside is the reason why you got arrested. You have all these kids and you left them to fend for themselves like a bunch of squirrels or birds. You left them outside like some little animals. Okay, so next story. Okay, girl, she's feral. Okay. All right, a mess. Kelly, do better. I don't think Kelly's getting out of jail. I think, remember the first judge who gave her like a $50 million bond? Was it 250? Girl, they gave her like a $250 million bond. The first judge was like, I'm not even playing with you. And then they gave her to Judge Walker. Remember the very senior black woman who was like, I think she gave her $250,000. And then from there, she ended up at this court. And then that's where she got the more reasonable bond. And then she got out. I think she's probably been out for like 6-7 months now, but she spent a considerable time in custody. But I think she's going to be in custody until they adjudicate. I think she's done. So whatever she had planned, whatever she had going on, you don't have a job. You don't have your kids. I don't know what kind of responsibilities she has, but the judge went ahead and locked her up. Okay. All right, guys. Let's go to the next story. Okay. Nuts, right? Let's see. Let's see what's next. Okay, I think we're going to stay in Michigan for a second. So there was a update with Mario Green. We did talk about the Mario Green case. We haven't been following every hearing, but he was in court today and it was only a few minutes. He's the guy who walked into the Henry Ford Hospital, went and sought out his wife, and that there were domestic issues with her at the time, and girl shot her on the job site. Okay. And he had an accomplice. Now, what's going on with the accomplice? I'm not sure, but I guess we get ready to find out. Hold on a second. So there was just a short hearing. I think he's supposed to be going to trial in September. if you go to my playlist, there is 1 or 2 videos, his arraignment and I think his first appearance. I have them in a playlist. I haven't kept up on doing a video for every appearance, but this guy, again, they got you on all kinds of video surveillance. I mean, there's just, again, it's like a mountain of evidence, sir. I don't, like, it's just, they got him all on the hospital cameras. They got him in the damn parking deck, everywhere. And but anyway, he's in custody. So let's hear what happened today. This is just a real shorty. But it appears that he's going for trial in September. So they're talking about some pretrial dates. But this guy is a real creep. I guess I could rerun back the first appearance if you're not familiar with this case to kind of hear what happened initially. Let me see if I can find it real quick.
Morning, Your Honor.
Good morning.
You may call Green. Call in case 2-5007-64001 FC. Mario Green, pre-trial appearances for the record.
Good morning, Your Honor. APA Larry King for the people, E78774.
Good morning.
Good morning, Your Honor, to you and your staff. Brian Berry, appearing on behalf of Mr. Mario Green.
Good morning. State your name for the record, sir.
Good morning, Your Honor. Mario Green.
Good morning. You may be seated. Today is the date for a final pre-trial. We have a jury trial scheduled for September the 21st. We also have another final pre-trial scheduled for July the 29th. Where are we at today? And September 11th is another final pre-trial.
Yes, Your Honor. This, we were before your court on a defense motion to adjourn very recently. This date was previously set when we were expecting the trial to proceed on May 11th. This was to be our final conference. From the people's perspective, I discussed with Attorney Berry. I understand discovery is complete. I understand that Attorney Berry's expert is working diligently to get the report. From my perspective, the people remain prepared to proceed with this case. We have no issues. We're prepared to proceed as scheduled in the file.
Anything from the defense?
I think we're progressing well, Your Honor, and we're headed toward trial. And I would respectfully ask the court to grant us an order allowing Mr. Green to have a USB at the jail or to use the tablet when it's available so that I can put some video on there for him to watch.
I will sign such an order that Mr. Green can have a USB and a tablet because he needs and a tablet.
Yeah, I'll provide the USB. They just needs a tablet to use that can play it.
People take no position on that request, Your Honor.
All right, and you will be present when that's.
I'm going to deliver it. I'll deliver it to a supervisor there at the jail. I won't be present when he's watching it, but they have their procedures in place.
I'll sign such an order. Anything else?
Nothing further, Your Honor. Thank you.
And nothing further.
And there continues to be no offer.
There continues to be no offer, Your Honor. Mr. Berry and I are discussing, continue to discuss. Lines of communication are open, but at this time, the people have not extended an offer.
All right, and just be mindful that I need the jury instructions as to the charges submitted to my JA the week prior to jury trial, and that will be at the pre-trial on September 11th.
Very well, Judge.
Understood, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, there's nothing further. That concludes this hearing.
Thank you, Your Honor.
People, thank you, Your Honor.
They probably don't want to hear anything about any offers. I mean, he walked up into a very busy hospital, took this lady's at her job, minding her business, and he killed her on the job site. So I don't know that they are going to offer him much. I don't know what they're going to do, but let's see if I can find. I'm sure I actually did, but let's see. So he was on the lam for a couple of days. he was, I wouldn't say he was missing, but they were trying to find him. They had to locate him, and they had to apprehend him. Let me see. I thought I had this. Just a second. I know it's in here somewhere. I see the whole hearing for his accomplice. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, just 1 second, guys. All right, I hadn't seen this. Let's take a look at this real quick. They might. Is this it? So is this when they were still in front? Oh, that's the preliminary hearing. Okay. Just in case you don't know this story, let me put this up in front of you. Okay, so here we go. I'm trying to find the first appearance one, but I can't find it.
Ex-wife at Henry Ford Hospital in Detroit is headed to man accused of killing his ex-wife at Henry Ford Hospital in Detroit is headed to trial. Mario Green back in court today to face murder and stalking charges. You know, this shooting happened back in August, sparking a citywide manhunt and raising questions about personal protection orders in the state. Fox News' Brandon Hutson is live outside the courthouse in Detroit. Brandon.
Yeah, Ruben, you remember this brought up a lot of questions about personal protection orders and filing them and just trying to protect people who went and sought out after those PPOs. But look, at the end of the day, there is enough evidence, according to the judge, to send Mario Green to trial for the murder of his ex-wife, Latricia Green. During today's hearing, there were two key pieces of video evidence. The first appears to show Mario Green walking to Latricia's office in the basement of Henry Ford Hospital on the morning of that shooting. And then moments later, a Detroit police officer testified that same video shows Mario Green running from that office location with a gun in his hand. Now, we heard from a witness who worked with Latricia Green.
That's my fault. Sorry, guys. Just a second.
Moments later, a Detroit police officer testified that same video shows Mario Green running from that office location with a gun in his hand. Now, we heard from a witness who worked with Latricia Green the day she died, but we were not allowed to show her face by court order. First, you're going to hear her back and forth with the prosecution, and then her back and forth with the defense.
Do you recall the nature of the conversation between Mario and Trish?
He was just asking her questions like, oh, I need help with a bill. Can you come out to the hall? And she was working and answering his questions.
What happens next after you hear their conversation?
I heard a gunshot.
Once you heard the gunshot, what, if anything, did you do?
I looked over, saw Trish, and I ran to the bathroom, and then I ran out the door. And then I ran to my coworker, pushed her in the door, locked the door, and called 911.
The demeanor of the person that was at the window was not hostile. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
And there was no argument?
No.
There was no indication of violence?
No.
What's he called?
Now, investigators say that Mario Green walked into Henry Ford Hospital on August 22nd. He shot and killed his ex-wife, who had a personal protection order against him, and officers arrested Mario Green 10 hours later. Now, the other video that you're watching that was played in court was from the body camera of a hospital security officer from April 2025. It was 4 months before the shooting. It shows an encounter between the former couple at Latricia Green's office.
So what's going on with you? I'm talking to you though. She don't talk because I didn't call you. She goes. So what you doing up here? I come here if I choose to come here. I mean, look, why you bothering me, man? Get her. They want to. Can I get additional
Mario.
Girl, he is a whole Dusty. That is so sad. The ladies at work. First of all, how embarrassing. You're at work trying to handle business. You got this Dusty, who's your ex-husband, coming up to the job, standing at a job where unfortunately she has a open door to the public. And this fool wants to come to the damn door and harass you while for nothing. And then even on the day that she died, so this is in April, she was killed in August. He comes up there asking about he needs help paying a bill. You need help paying a bill, which we know that that's a lie because he brought someone up there. If you guys want to watch some of this, we can, but his trial's coming up in September. I don't know what's going to happen with this. Is he going to end up going to trial? I think, workplace violence. Does he get a plea deal? Like the judge said, no plea offers yet. The prosecutor made it sound like they're trying to work on something, but I don't know if they're at any sort of, I don't know what the man's defense is, but come on now. He came up there with a gun. He actually had a friend. He had an accomplice. Well, he had an accomplice after the fact. But he came up there to do. He was mad. He's a certified Dusty. Yeah, absolutely. He might have been mad she had a job. Okay. All right. A mess. Okay, guys, let's go back. Okay, so we have another update on something else too. Okay, but we'll keep up. If you go into my playlist, there's the original video on this. I don't know if we did all of that, but there's like a preliminary hearing and everything. If you guys want to go back and revisit some of that, because they had the video and body cam footage and all of that. So if you want to revisit some of that, we can. I'll just pull some of that, but some of it was televised, so we can definitely see some of it. Girl, a whole mess. Really sad because, again, she's at work doing, handling her business. And this guy is an ex-husband and he's still coming up to the job. Like, sir, move on with your life. Okay, let's go over here. So you guys, our favorite prosecutor was here a couple of weeks ago. This is one of his cases, the veneer specialist, Brandon Dillard in Atlanta. Brandon has like 113 count RICO case. And so his lawyer just filed a motion, and I pulled it up this morning. I haven't had a chance to read it at all. But what they're arguing, according to this news report that I saw, which made me go and pull up the document, they're trying to argue that Brandon was unaware of the qualifications and the licensing requirements to do some of the work that he was doing. So they filed a motion to dismiss the charges, if you can believe it. Meanwhile, the state of Georgia is already in the process of taking possession of the $1 million condo and all of the assets revolving around the A plus veneers business. They said that Brandon made over $4 million.
Prosecutors say he ran.
So, and you know, Will Wooten's on the case, so you already know. Yes, Brandon Dillard. They said that he made over $4 million. We did a whole reading of the indictment. It's in the playlist. I think we've done like 3-4 videos. So go check it out. We read the whole entire indictment, but he says he was not aware that he was supposed to have that he was practicing dentistry without a license.
An illegal dental practice without a license or a dental degree. Now the man who called himself Atlanta's top veneer specialist is claiming in court that he had no idea what he was doing was illegal. Channel 2 consumer investigator Justin Gray is here now with these new developments in a story that...
Why would his lawyer file a paper like that? Ignorance is not a defense, right? Just because you don't know something doesn't mean that you can't be caught doing something illegal. Like, oh, I didn't know that that was illegal. How many people are in jail today because they were doing something wrong and swear on a stack of Bibles that they didn't know what they were doing was wrong? Come on now.
You first broke back in 2024.
Well, George, this is the new motion Brandon Dillard's attorney filed in Fulton County Court this week, claiming the charges against him should be thrown out because he had no way to know performing these veneer procedures without a dental degree was illegal. We were there exclusively when investigators raided Brandon Dillard's allegedly illegal dental practice in 2024 and when he first appeared before a judge from behind bars. Now, Dillard has just filed this motion to dismiss or quash the indictment, claiming he lacked notice that his conduct was in violation of the law.
I've read the statute and it seems to be pretty clear.
So you do not find it vague?
No, it's the statute's not vague.
Did you see the look that he gave him? He was like, vague, not at all.
Statute's not vague.
We showed former DeKalb County District Attorney Robert James Dillard's motion. Fulton County prosecutors allege that for years, Dillard called himself a veneer specialist, making more than $4 million, charging thousands not just for veneers, but to train others to be veneer specialists or technicians, something that legally does not exist in Georgia. Dillard has no dental degree or license, but his attorney claims in this legal filing that the defendants at all times believe that their actions and operations were lawful.
You're not changing someone's tire. You're not washing their car. It's a medical procedure.
The original arrest warrants cite a letter and phone call Dillard received from the Georgia Board of Dentistry informing him they were investigating and telling Dillard to cease and desist his unlicensed practice of dentistry. That was nearly 8 months before the DA ever took any criminal.
You got a phone call. They told you to cut the shit. You got a formal cease and desist and did not comply.
Action.
If I were a judge, right, and you're making an argument that, you know, he hasn't been put on notice because the statute's unclear, and then the dental board actually puts him on notice, right? Argument's over at that point. It doesn't really make much sense.
And Dillard is due back in court in June. He's facing a 110-count indictment on charges including theft by deception and practicing dentistry without a license. Linda.
Wow, Justin, thank you.
Oh, my bad, you guys. My bad. I didn't realize. Oh, okay. I was like, what happened? I was on mute. My bad. 110 count. You know, you know, the RICO cases are so extensive, but yeah, it's another Will Wooten case, and it's 110 counts. There were a ton of victims that came forward. So the victims that came forward that paid for dental services, that paid for veneers, he was doing injections, he was doing extractions, he was doing dental work. Now, I don't know that he was doing dental work well, but he was doing dental work nonetheless, and it's a problem. Now, this was something I saw recently. We were keeping up with this story, but this was the fallout from the story that we were keeping up with over the summer. I know you guys remember the 10 guys that escaped from jail over in New Orleans. The sheriff at the time, do you remember that press conference where they were like, "And where's the sheriff?" And she wasn't there. And then I think the governor was like, "Well, if I were her, I'd be looking for those." Like, they were being real snarky and sassy about the sheriff. Baby, they have brought an indictment against the sheriff. Let's get into it. I haven't had a chance to really get into it, but it looked like she stepped down the other day. She was giving a tearful goodbye to the sheriff's department. And girl, she has a booking photo and everything. They arrested her for malfeasance.
2 News at 4. We start with some major breaking news. Orleans Parish Sheriff Susan Hutson indicted in connection with an investigation into last year's jailbreak in New Orleans.
So this indictment comes in connection with a state investigation by Attorney General Liz Murrow's office into last year's mass escape by 10.
And you remember, if you kept up with this at all, I mean, and we're on the outside. I mean, I know we have people who are here in the vicinity of New Orleans or in Louisiana, but just even being outside of the state, you could really feel that the governor and all people involved, I mean, even the mayor was looking, I don't know that she was pissed, but she was looking worried. And I think that there was just an overall tone. People were pissed. They were very pissed it happened, and definitely she's being used as a scapegoat because whoever opened the door, whoever allowed those guys to get out is the one who's responsible. But her being like the leader, she's definitely being held to account for this. But yeah, I think somebody's got to take the fall, and I guess it's going to be Susan. You know what I mean? That her ship wasn't being run tight enough. And also, if there were some missteps along the way when this thing first got activated, I think the main thing that happened, this is just my opinion. Remember when the escape happened? Forgive me if I'm wrong. I feel like it was within, let's say, 12 hours or 24 hours. There was a time period that the public, or let's say the mayor, the governor, those like the next chain in command to notify, like, hey, we've got 10 serious felons on the loose, people who are of grave concern on the loose. There was a period of time that was a failure to notify. I think that's the grievance, and it sparks from there. So let's just listen to these couple of reports so we can understand. I've got the indictment. I haven't gone through the whole thing yet, girl. They had to write, 23 pages.
Inmates. The bombshell news came down within just the last hour. And so we do have team coverage for you right now to break down those charges and what's next in this investigation and the legal process. Let's start with WDSU reporter Jasmine Franklin with the latest. Jasmine.
And Sella, we are still combing through all the new details from this case, as we just heard from the Attorney General's office, Liz Murrow, providing that update right now. We do know Sheriff Hutson has been indicted, 30 counts indictment. They're facing several charges, including malfeasance in office, conspiracy to commit malfeasance, filing or maintaining false public records, along with a number of other charges. Now, documents show her bond has been set at $300,000, and she's not the only person facing charges. The sheriff's Chief Financial Officer Bianca Brown was also indicted on 20 counts, facing similar charges, including conspiracy to commit obstruction of justice. Now, this comes nearly 1 year after 10 inmates ran out of the Orleans Parish Jail here. Many of those inmates were facing serious charges, and now all have been brought back into custody. But
Girl, when that happened and that video of them running out on the loading dock, you know how many times that thing was played all over the internet, clowning, all of the things. I mean, yeah, you know somebody was going to have to answer for that.
there were many concerns, specifically with the sheriff, regarding a timeline of notifying the public after the escape happened last May, and also how the jailbreak was even possible. Michelle Woodfork is set to take office here as the new sheriff of the Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office starting on Monday. Reporting live outside of the jail, I'm Jasmine Franklin. Back to you.
Now, all of this comes just one day after Hutson made her farewell address, set to officially vacate that office on Monday. Yeah, but before that, she is set to make her first court appearance tomorrow.
WDSU reporter Alyssa Gomez picks up our live team coverage. Alyssa, we know that there's an ad hoc judge, former Judge Franz Ziblich, who will hear this case tomorrow.
Yeah, Travers, and I'll tell you, as soon as we got here to the courthouse, all the reporters running inside to try to get a copy of the affidavit. Unfortunately, the clerk's office telling us that they do not have that paperwork in hand just yet, so they cannot give us copies, and told us to come back tomorrow morning, which we will be here. And the sheriff also expected to be here, as you mentioned, at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. Again, like Randy said, this all comes as the sheriff is expected to leave office, even giving her farewell address yesterday after serving for 5 years as the leader of the Orleans Parish Justice Center. In that address, she touched on the jailbreak in May of last year, citing it as one of her most challenging experiences. Today, the Attorney General saying in that indictment that the sheriff did not comply with basic legal requirements. Again, this is a bombshell announcement that just dropped a couple of moments ago, so you can expect us to continue to follow it throughout the next couple of days, probably next couple of weeks, and we will be back out here at the courthouse when those doors open tomorrow morning to get a copy of that affidavit as well. Back to you.
Live right now, former state and federal prosecutor Matt Coman. Matt, big question here. How do we go from a jailbreak, which some people said was maybe incompetence, to criminal charges now for the sheriff of Orleans Parish?
Well, actually, the malfeasance in office charge actually can charge anyone with failing to perform a duty that they were required to perform. So the statute itself is very wide in scope. In fact, I believe there was another individual's, a sheriff's office employee, actually Sterling Williams, who was charged with one of the same type of offenses and failing to perform various security requirements of his particular role. So we've got the malfeasance as well as the failure to maintain accurate records and filing false public records, as well as the obstruction of justice charge itself. So you've got a wide range of charges. You got 30 counts total against the sheriff and 20 against the CFO. So it looks like there was a thorough investigation, and it's not just one particular incident. It's going to be multiple requirements that were violated, and that's what we expect to see in the indictment when you do see it.
And Matt, when it comes to those documents, would this be something along the lines of, because again, a lot of this is just speculation, but is this the handling of those documents, the covering up involving those documents as it relates to the jailbreak?
The obstruction of justice charge and the failure to maintain accurate records and or filing false records can actually be altering a record and filing some false record, or withholding the filing of a document and a record that you were required by law to file. So again, that particular charge, again, like the malfeasance in office charge, is very wide in scope, and a number of different factors could go into that particular violation.
And Matt, real quickly, so if convicted, what kind of jail time or penalty are we looking at?
All these are felonies, every one of them, from the malfeasance 0 to 10 years up to 20 years in prison, 10 years on the obstruction charge, depending on what the underlying or predicate offense would be. So they're all felonies. There's no mandatory minimum on any of these. And obviously the sheriff and the CFO, if they were convicted, would be first offenders. So that would be up to the district judge that would have that case, but they're all felonies.
All right, Matt Coman, stick around. You're no stranger to prosecuting high-profile cases. You prosecuted former Mayor Ray Nagin. Stick around. We're going to come back to you in just about 25 minutes here. We have a lot more questions to get to on this major story.
And again, if you want to keep up with the very latest, you can join us online at WDSU.com or our mobile app.
Orleans Parish Sheriff Susan Hutson and her Chief Financial Officer Bianca.
Okay, so yeah, these are the mugshots. Let me tell you something. Law enforcement, me personally, I would never want a job that if people were going to point the finger on how you didn't do something could send your ass to jail. You know what I'm saying? Like people fuck up at work. Like things happen and you can mess up at work. Things cannot happen. There can be some, we thought we were doing this. We thought we were doing the right thing at the time. We realized maybe that probably wasn't the best thing to do. People make mistakes, all of the things. They are criminally indicting this woman. I'm just very surprised that because we've seen lots of things happening. And I mean, you rarely see something like this. I'm eager to read through this. I got it last night, but I just didn't have a chance to read through it. What this says. So we'll come back and read through it. If you guys want to read through this, we can. I'm just trying to kind of gloss over it now and see if anything pops up about what this misfiling of paperwork, what kind of, I don't know if it was the delay in notifying the city or who or what was the reason, what were the reasons and what made it criminal rather than sanctioned or you're going to lose your job or things like that was, and they're saying there was a conspiracy. So that would take more than one person. So that were they trying to cover something up? Do you maybe they were trying to cover up that there was the jailbreak? I don't know. I'm going to read through it and see what I can find. And if you guys want to read through it together, let me know and then we'll go through it. But I'm still shocked that they made this criminal. What do you guys think? Sloppy paperwork. Yeah. Isn't this terrible? Girl, awful. That's a good question. So yes, the same requirement applies. Absolutely. Well, first of all, my time for law enforcement or to be a nurse, I don't think it's going to happen, but good question. Because there are lots of jobs. So I'm going to say this, there are lots of jobs. If I were to apply that law or that rule, that thought that I just would not have a job, that if I were to make a mistake, you can bring criminal charges against me, then I guess, yeah, I'm going to have to grow. But you know what? These days in 2026, you can't even damn cross the street without, if you can't even cross the street without somebody saying you didn't do it right. You didn't cross it. You didn't cross in the lines. You didn't cross at the corner because you did this. Somebody swerved off the road and now you're criminally responsible because of your negligence or your ineptitude to cross the street correctly. Somebody swerved, they ran into a tree and 10 squirrels lost their home. And then you know what I mean? Like all kinds of, there's always something. So yes, I that puts it into perspective that really and truly this could happen to anyone. So, but yeah, it is I feel bad for these women because I wonder if there was a malicious intent. Maybe they were just kind of like, oh shit. I don't know, but I'd like to know more.
Brown, both out on bond tonight after they were handed down a state indictment tied to the Orleans Parish jailbreak. Thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm Sharice Gibson. Last spring's jail escape led to a manhunt of 10 Orleans Parish jail inmates, and now it's leading to legal trouble for the outgoing sheriff. And Sananda McCall, she's been following the developments all evening. Sananda, what can you tell us? Obviously, a shock to everyone as she's getting ready to leave office.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been some major news today. Now, just before leaving office, Orleans Parish Sheriff Susan Hutson was taken into custody, indicted on 30 felony counts for her alleged role in what prosecutors call one of the largest jailbreaks in the country.
As I prepare to leave office in the coming days, I do so with gratitude.
A day after holding her farewell press conference, Susan Hutson is facing a 30-count indictment. It's a case experts say is rare and deeply tied to the troubled history of the Orleans jail.
Usually when you see, unfortunately, we've seen several times before, Orleans Parish officials being indicted, it's in federal court on charges of federal corruption, mail fraud, those sorts of things.
Instead, the indictment was brought by Louisiana's Attorney General after a special grand jury investigation into the escape of 10 inmates from the Orleans Justice Center last spring.
The Attorney General is going to have to prove that Sheriff Hutson intentionally refused or did not perform duties required by her office.
Prosecutors say Hutson didn't personally open the jail doors, but argue her failure to meet basic legal duties led to the escape.
The fact that intentional misconduct is required to prove all of these crimes makes it, at the very least, an interesting, if not a difficult case for the Attorney General's office to prove.
Former WWL investigative reporter Mike Perlstein says the indictment suggests prosecutors are looking beyond this moment.
That just raises the question, just speculating that there may be something systemic that ran through the course of her term, in office.
If there was anything to do with obstructing this investigation into the jailbreak in the aftermath of that crime, then we'd see kind of more traditional charges that might be brought in state court that relate to not in this case, the jailbreak itself, but the cover-up afterwards.
To say that Sheriff Hutson had a rocky 4-year tenure would be an understatement.
I can't even begin to speculate as to why these charges were brought now rather than weeks or months ago or 2 or 3 weeks from now. There's no telling.
Hutson's chief financial officer, Bianca Brown, was also indicted. Both surrendered their passports and are due back in court on Thursday.
And Sananda, I have to tell you, that was a rocky time. Mike Perlstein was right in saying this, that 4-year tenure that she served as the first African-American woman to serve as sheriff. It was a rough tenure. And it also dealt with public trust. A lot of people said they lost faith in public trust in the sheriff's position. What did they have to say about that?
Yeah, so we know that when Sheriff Hutson inherited this jail, it was in pretty tough condition. We know that she took it on when there were staffing shortages, there were security problems, and her leadership promised to go about reforming this department, as well as expecting more accountability from the department itself once it was inherited.
Right.
But after the jailbreak, a lot of people lost trust in that situation. Even the AG's office said that only her leadership made problems worse. We did hear from the sheriff-elect, Michelle Woodfork, who says that there has been a goal after she takes office on Monday to restore a new era of leadership. She said that she's hoping to bring about accountability, transparency, which we did hear that again from Sheriff Hutson when she first took office. So a lot of people are kind of trying to wait and see. And we do know that right now, Sheriff Hutson as well as Bianca Brown have been released on bond.
All right, thank you so much.
Let me just say this. So I feel like, okay, and thank you so much, Pink Sagittarius. I appreciate you for supporting for so long. Thank you, sis. Thank you. Let me say this. So we know, New Orleans is a major city in our country. Lots of things happen, lots of conventions, lots of partying. There's lots of, there's Mardi Gras, there's big events that happen every year in New Orleans. Specifically, I think, so when this jailbreak happened, I feel like it was on the heels of, remember the guy who didn't someone drive a Tesla in front, like there was some big sporting event that had happened. I don't remember all the chain of events, but there were like 2 or 3 very unfortunate kind of out of anybody's control situations that happened. There was a weird guy that went down to the French Quarter, right? Then there was another guy that drove like a damn Cybertruck to a freaking hotel. There were some situations that happened that had nothing to do with the sheriff's department, but that were highly visible national stories that happened in New Orleans at the time that things were happening. Did they have the Super Bowl down there? There was something going on around that time that those two very weird, isolated events happened. And then here you go, this footage. There was these footages that happened, this right here, which was highly, somewhat comical. But
in this
it
case, the
was-
jailbreak itself.
It was reran on all over the internet. It was viral. Watching those guys run up out that damn jail. It went viral. It was like, what happened? And then it's possible that there was a worker in the jail who may have been negatively influenced and was vulnerable and made the city and the country at large be vulnerable because these ninjas decided to run up out that damn jail. Okay. This lady is now being held to account. And yes, I do agree because, you know, I'm a woman and I've been in a position where I've seen peers not be judged as harshly as I'm like, it's like, well, what did I do? It was cool when they did it. It's not cool when I do it, but absolutely. You know what I mean? So we see that all the time, right? So I totally agree on that. But what I'm going to say is it really did not surprise me. I was surprised, but not surprised because when this happened, if you remember those people, the powers that be, were pissed. They were so pissed at this. And obviously the one guy, the Derek, whatever his name was, that they found in Atlanta, the guy was going to prison for double murder, double homicide. You had rapists, you had all kinds of guys that needed to be right where they were at who really didn't need to be out on the streets, and it was a liability. I feel bad for for the sheriff. It's unfortunate for her because I'm sure she worked very hard to attain, you know, a top law enforcement position. It's awful. But yeah, these videos did not help. This runoff, baby, that didn't help things at all. Okay. It's unfortunate. I feel bad for her. Okay. I think there was one more that was good, and then we'll swerve. I love how that guy called. That guy. Oh, Antoine. You talking about Antoine with the aunt who kept going live? Hold on. Let's see. All right. Oh.
Brazen jailbreak you see on your screen, which happened in New Orleans, is one of 2 people now facing criminal charges.
It happened last year and took nearly 5 months to get all the escapees back in custody, including 2 who
My bad, y'all.
managed to get all the way to Huntsville.
ABC 13's Mo Hyder is in the studio with a closer look at the new charges. Mo?
Yeah, guys, with those charges coming from the Louisiana Attorney General's office, and the 2 people that we're talking about, Orleans Parish Sheriff Susan Hutson and Bianca Brown, the parish's chief financial officer, they're both facing dozens of felony charges ranging from malfeasance in office to obstruction of justice. The inmates escaped early in the morning on May 16th last year. Authorities say they climbed through a hole behind a toilet, sparking a massive manhunt. More than a week later, 2 of them, Leo Tate and Jermaine Donald, were arrested in Huntsville. Now, according to the Louisiana Attorney General's office, while Sheriff Hutson didn't physically open the doors,
These guys were just walking around. That's the one. This one right here. He's the one that was found in Atlanta. That's the guy that was hiding, I think, over to his girlfriend's house. There were people that got charges hiding these guys.
Investigators say her failure to follow legal requirements contributed to the escape. And according to a report from ABC News, they say the Orleans Parish District Attorney's Office claims that Hutson and her staff were slow to request a detailed investigation, potentially leading to missing critical evidence. Hutson also lost her bid for re-election, and her last day in office is next week. Both she and her are expected to appear in court tomorrow. Back to you guys.
Okay, so she didn't have to step down. She was basically she lost her election. Okay. So that's some good information. So she did her she was able to finish her full office basically, but she lost her reelection. I mean, it comes with the territory. People were not happy about what happened. Um it's unfortunate. I feel bad for her. But you know, when people don't like you on the job, I almost feel like it took so long while they were asking like why it took so long to bring charges against her. I think they had to find something that would stick. Honestly, I like, okay, this is how we can do it. Um, I think they had to figure out how they were going to charge her because we heard the one in one story where they said that you have to show some sort of intent. So if these were unintentional acts or just derivative of, like he was saying, maybe this is systemic. So if it's systemic and it's kind of a derivative of, I mean, if they can prove that this was something that existed, this was kind of a known or unknown systemic problem that kind of bubbled up as a result of this. I don't know. I guess she's going to have to get a lawyer to help her figure this whole thing out. It's unfortunate. I think it was always supposed to be Derek and the others just ended up girl. The door was open and they ran out. Yeah. Mm-mm-mm. Okay. I think that's everything. I'm sure we've got more stuff we can talk about. I heard that the sheriff was supposed to be having a press conference about USF, but I don't know if that happened or not yet. If they were able to identify, okay, 46 minutes ago. Hold on a second. I feel like we knew that that was going to happen. Very sad, but good for the family that they can have her remains back and go ahead and move from this process, because so many people who lose family to this type of situation often don't get the closure. They don't find the bodies, they don't have the remains. So I guess he put her in the water. They found her in the water and they were able to identify, let's see what it says. Hold on. I don't think I have the press conference, but let's see what it says. So press conference with Hillsborough County Sheriff. Let me see if it's on YouTube. Okay, hold on a second. Let's see. So this was, let's see. When was this? This was an hour ago. So since we've been live, this happened.
This morning, I'll be sharing information that needs to come with a strong warning. The details of this investigation are gruesome, and the actions of the suspect are nothing short of pure evil. But first and foremost, I want all of you to know who Zamil Lamone and Nashida Bristy were.
Poor thing. Okay, let's see. Oh, okay. This was on an accelerated speed, so no wonder this is acting weird. Okay.
suspect are nothing short of pure evil. But first and foremost, I want all of you to know who Zamil Lamone and Nahida Bristi were.
Okay, you guys, I'm so used to listening to things on 1.25. I'm like, sir, is he talking slow or is it just me? This is on normal speed. So we're going to just bump it to 1.25. No disrespect to the sheriff, but
They were dedicated students and loyal friends. They were accountable and responsible, which is why when they didn't show up to meetings, stopped answering calls, and missed appointments, their friends immediately knew something was very wrong. What began as a missing persons case ended with the discovery of a monstrous crime. Our community has been left heartbroken and the victims' families shattered after this tragic loss. I'm going to walk you through this case, and I want you to know, I knew from the very beginning we had two options: to find them or find the truth. On April 17th, the University of South Florida Police Department was notified that our first victim, had been reported missing. This was very unusual. Like I mentioned, she was responsible. She never missed her thesis appointments. She never missed work. She was responsive. So the University of South Florida Department, who I have to thank for being absolutely an incredible partner, Chief Dan.
let me just say this too real quick. Earlier this week, we read the full affidavit, if you will, regarding this case. I'm sure it has been updated to the minute regarding the death of Zamil, and now what is being confirmed as the death of Nahida Bristi. And we saw the first appearance of Hashim Abagarbi. And we read his arrest affidavit. So all of that, if you're curious, if you don't know a lot about this case and you're just kind of like, what happened? I feel like we've done like 2 or 3 videos on it in the past week. So definitely get caught up. And they're obviously in the timeline. I think there's probably there's videos on this with lots of information. So definitely get caught up. But I guess what it's saying is USF murders timeline. So I'm assuming he's also going to confirm that the body that was the remains that were recovered are the remains of Nahida Bristi. So I'm going to go ahead and let it run with no interruptions, and we'll just talk about it after. Okay.
Daniels, the University of South Florida president, thank you for your help in this case. They immediately started looking back and creating a timeline of when she was last seen, video that we collected from the last time she had left the office in the afternoon on the day prior, on the 16th. The next day, on April 18th, we get a phone call from a concerned friend of Zamil saying, hey, he also is very responsible, dedicated, responsive, didn't answer his calls, didn't show up to his appointments. Something's wrong. Working so closely like we do with the University of South Florida Police Department, we immediately noticed when our missing persons detectives and the detective that they have working at the university realized that, hey, these cases are connected. We should work them together. And that's when this collaborative effort started. So our detectives believe that the first stop should be back at our second victim's residence. So we go to Zamil's residence, and where he lives with 2 roommates. One roommate continues to be elusive. The stories are inconsistent, almost to the point where he will talk about anything, loves to talk about himself. And this continues and carries throughout the entire investigation, except when we want to talk about either one of our 2 victims. Then he immediately starts becoming elusive and deceptive. The other roommate, we learn very quickly that he wasn't involved, begins to become extremely cooperative. And at that point, he, at the initial stages, when this is still a missing persons case, notifies us that something's wrong. The doormat by the door's missing. There's some pots and pans missing. So our detectives, as hard charging as they are, their first stop is the dumpster. They learned that the trash compactor in the complex hasn't been emptied yet in these couple days. This is where we get the first break in our case. We go out there dumpster diving. These detectives getting inside of the dumpster and empty the entire contents. And they find Zamil's glasses, his student ID, his wallet, and his clothes, which are extremely bloodied at the time. Again, this is where we get our first break. This is where, during this timeline, this missing persons becomes a missing person endangered case. Now we ramp up our efforts because now we know, and you guys heard the same theory that we have that's been dispelled and unproven, that the two of them were in arranged marriage, that the two of them were in love, the two of them ran away together. We were able to dispel that immediately at this point, knowing that we're going a different direction. At the time, we believe that our now suspect was at just a point of interest. We needed more information. So we have enough evidence to get a search warrant. We go back to the residence and we serve the search warrant. And the search warrants for the residents, for the roommates, both roommates' phones, for their person, and for their cars. They go into the residence and we have some amazing technology, one of it being Blue Star that identifies the presence of blood. And when they deploy Blue Star, they can see in the kitchen area, there's a large pool of blood. They see that the blood continues down the hallway and into our suspect's bedroom. The technology is so precise and finite that we can see the outline of a human being on the floor next to our suspect's bed where he was curled up in a fetal position. We then examine his phone. His entire history had been wiped clean. No text messages, no emails, no GPS data. His search history totally cleared. So it takes us a little bit of time at that point because we have to do a forensic deep dive onto the phone. And what we found by doing a forensic deep dive is where we found a lot of disturbing searches. He searches for, can a knife penetrate a skull? Can a neighbor hear a gunshot? Can you bury a body in a trash bag and throw it in a dumpster? While he's conducting these searches, we also see and discover that he's making purchases for large, heavy-duty black contractor bags, Lysol wipes, duct tape, lighter fluid, a lighter. As he's ordering some of the items from Amazon, some of them come from DoorDash. I wanted everyone in the room to think about this. These searches were conducted days before our two victims went missing. This was calculated. This is what makes this so premeditated. We then look at him. He's got a laceration to his left pinky, and on the back of his left tricep, he has a deep laceration where he should have been properly sutured. He should have went and got stitches. He was unable to explain where he got those, what we believe is defensive wounds. At that point, we turn to the car. In the trunk, very little blood. On the floorboard of the passenger side of his vehicle, again, deploying Blue Star technology, we see a large amount of blood there. We later find out that that's Nishita's blood. That comes back to her. The GPS in the car, once again, wiped totally clean. While we're conducting this forensic deep dive on his phone to see where he had been days prior, we're able to determine that he had traveled over to Clearwater, the Sand Key area. We confirmed that by looking at a video surveillance from a nearby fire station that shows him get out of the car. And he's around the Sand Key area over in Clearwater. He spends a short amount of time there. Then as we're examining the longitude and latitude coordinates, we see he goes on the Howard Franklin Bridge and he stops there for a short amount of time. So at this point, we make the decision to launch a surge full of manpower to go out and start an extensive search, knowing that he spent an amount of time there. We should find and locate our victims there because we believe, again, he's not a suspect. He's a person of interest. We let him go. Yes, he's under 24-hour surveillance, but we're conducting this exhaustive search now at this point. Our Marine unit, our divers who continued nonstop, our investigators, our professional staff that were out there helping any way they could, our aviation team, our drone team, again, nonstop. As some of our detectives are examining the latitude and longitude of some of where he had been, they're traveling northbound on the Howard Franklin Bridge, on the Pinellas side of the bridge. And they see a large black trash bag sitting on the shoulder of the road all by itself. They stop. They walk up, and as they're approaching it, they immediately smell that unique smell of human remains when it's in that decomposition phase. They go up, they physically feel the outside of it, and realize that there's human remains there. They stop what they're doing, knowing that this could be evidence. We're in Pinellas County at this point, and they contact the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office, who immediately responds, along with the Pinellas County Medical Examiner's Office, who takes custody of this bag. and goes back. We learned during this that it is our victim, Zamil. We're able to determine that because he's in the early stages of decomposition. So we knew it was him through fingerprints that were obtained through the Department of Homeland Security when he had entered the country. When I talk about gruesome, he had been stabbed several times, which ultimately was the cause of his death. He was bound in front at his hands and at his ankles. His legs up towards his buttocks area was almost completely severed, so he could be bent together and make it easier to place in a trash bag. He was left on the side of the road. As gruesome as this murder was, he was literally left on the side of the highway like a piece of trash. As we're out there and this is occurring, and remember, this investigation is large, it's expansive, and it's very fluid and very dynamic. As this is occurring, we get a phone call from our suspect's family that the night before he had battered and committed domestic violence against them. He had been acting erratic. He got out of the shower with only a towel wrapped around him. He approaches his sister and begins to almost like a humping fashion trying to grind on his sister. And at one point tries to kiss his sister. His sister has difficulty trying to push him away, and she is not able to freely leave that confrontation because he's able to overpower her. He batters the family at the same time. So we try to make contact with him. We know he's inside the residence. The family tells us, and we have him under constant surveillance. We know he's there. He refuses to answer the phone. He refuses to come out. We make the decision based on the violent nature that we know this individual is capable of. At the same time, we learn that a few days prior, he had purchased a firearm from a pawn shop. Now, later on, we determined that he never picked up that firearm, but we didn't know that. We didn't have that information at the time. Again, very dynamic, very fluid. So we activate our SWAT team and negotiators to try to bring this to a peaceful resolution. After several hours of trying to make contact, we're at the point where we made a determination we're going to go in and physically remove him from the house, place him under arrest. Right about that point, as you guys have seen the video and are watching the video now, he surrenders peacefully and he's placed under arrest without incident. At that time, we begin conferring with the state attorney who has been there since moment one, walking through this. And we're able to charge him with a bunch of charges that at that point, later on, charge him ultimately with the two premeditated murders of our two victims. So at this point, the search still continues. We still need to find Nishida. We still need to locate her. So we're still conducting that search. We get a phone call 2 days later that two recreational kayakers are out again on the Pinellas County side. And while this is occurring, the deputies and Marine unit are doing a great job trying to determine the tide and when they're occurring and what the tide patterns are to see, hey, how far of a search pattern do we need? The divers are still in the water. As you guys were out there covering, it was a long several days as we were trying to locate our two victims, especially now knowing that we have one victim, the other one should still be in the nearby area. As one of our kayakers is fishing, his fishing line snags on a bag. He has to go further into the mangroves. He smells something as he describes as undescribable. And when he went and got closer to remove his fishing line, he sees that a plastic bag has been opened. There's been salt water in there. He can't tell what it is, but it looks like a human body. So he does the right thing and contacts law enforcement. We immediately relocate over there, contact the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office Marine Unit that's already out there with us, the Pinellas County Medical Examiner, Pinellas County Forensic Science Department, who came out and took custody. Unfortunately, because of the conditions that her body was left in, it was more in those advanced stages of decomposition, and we weren't able to just do a fingerprint. So that's what took longer. Today, I'm able to confidently stand in front of you and tell all of you that we have located Nishida Bristi. We have contacted her family. We are now actively working to release both bodies for religious reasons back to the families who live in Bangladesh. We were able to determine that this was Nishida. Unfortunately, couldn't do it because of fingerprints, but we did it because of DNA. We were able to confirm DNA, some dental work that she had done, and the clothing that she still had on from the video that we saw the April 16th when the University of South Florida Police Department narrowed down was the last time that she was observed on campus. The house, place him under.
I guess that was it. Hold on a second. Let's see if there's anything else. I'm surprised he didn't answer any questions. It just kind of ended. Let me see. Woo! I mean, I was kind of into the story. Let's see. Is this it right here? Okay.
Show up to his appointments, something's wrong. Gruesome as this murder was, he was literally left on the side of the highway. The deputies and Marine unit are doing a great job trying to determine the tide and when they're occurring. But first and foremost, thank yous. This is a result. When you stand here and talk about the success of a case, relocate over there, contact the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office Marine Unit that's already out there with us, the Pinellas County Medical Examiner, Pinellas County Forensic Science Department, who came out and took custody. Unfortunately, because of the conditions that her body was left in, it was more in those advanced stages of decompositions.
So you heard him saying he attacked his sister. Girl, how disgusting. How awful. I mean, you know what I'm saying? The man's obviously clearly mentally disturbed. But you killed two people, all of the things, and now you're just going to go out basically guns blazing and attack your sister in a towel out the shower. Ugh. Poor girl. It's just what a nightmare for the family.
Decomposition, and we weren't able to just do a fingerprint. So that's what took longer. Today, I'm able to confidently stand in front of you and tell all of you that we have located Nashida Bristy. We have contacted her family. We are now actively working to release both bodies for religious reasons back to the families who live in Bangladesh. We were able to determine that this was Nashida. Unfortunately, couldn't do it because of fingerprints, but we did it because of DNA. We were able to confirm DNA, some dental work that she had done, and the clothing that she still had on from the video that we saw the April 16th when the University of South Florida Police Department narrowed down was the last time that she was observed on campus. I want to take just a moment and close with some thank yous. This is a result. When you stand here and talk about the success of a case, obviously we all wish the definition was success is that we would have located both of them alive and that we wouldn't be standing in front of the cameras. But when you look at the good old-fashioned police work, and part two is the partnership and collaboration that we share with surrounding agencies, surrounding counties, state and the federal level. That's the reason I'm able to stand in front of you today and talk about the success in terms of recovering both of these victims, hoping that the family members will get some semblance of comfort and peace now, knowing what happened to their family members and that they are returning home to be buried by their loved ones. The collaboration has been phenomenal. The University of South Florida Police Department that we constantly work with, phenomenal job, seamless transition on this case. The Pinellas County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Galtieri, thank you. Thank you to you and your entire team for being out there with us in the hot, long days and never giving up in this search. The Pinellas County.
I'm going to speed ahead just a little bit, see if there's any questions.
And be able to announce the success of this investigation. Now, I want all of you to know that there are a lot more details to share, but I'm not able to share them now. Yes, our suspects in custody, the victims are on their way being returned to their families, But there's a lot of investigation that still continues and has continued to this point. A lot of deep dive records, a lot of subpoenas that we're waiting for answers for, that may result in additional charges forthcoming. Again, I can't comment further because I never want to attack the integrity of the investigation that these hardworking detectives continue to do. Great question. The question is, what's the motive? That's part of what we're still trying to determine. At this point, we don't know what the motive is. The why, we don't know yet. We're still working. I know that after briefing and meeting and being briefed with the detectives yesterday, they're anxiously searching for that as well.
He's a fucking loser. That's the motive. He's a loser, and he's probably a hater. He probably wasn't doing as well as Zamil. He may have been jealous. You know, he could have been like an incel, one of these involuntary celibate dudes. And you got a sweet mate who's got an attractive girlfriend who's smart. He might have just been a damn hater, a inept, you know, socially awkward incel who was a hater. Zamil's getting ready to do his thesis presentation, finish up. He's got a equally intelligent girlfriend and probably just jealous of people living their life. This guy was over there you know, it seemed like he had housing, but he was over there to the parents' house that didn't live far away. So at least unlike the people he killed who didn't have family close by and are way in Bangladesh, this guy's got family in the city. And he might have just been a hater. I think there's probably some incel. He probably didn't know how to date. He probably was socially awkward. And I think he probably was a hater. You can't make sense out of nonsense. Sometimes things are just hate and envy. Hate and envy has killed millions of people since the beginning of time. Hate and envy is motive enough for me. Okay. I don't think there's always a long storyline as to the who, what, where, whens, and whys. Sometimes it's just good old fashioned hate. It's just good old fashioned. That's it. He did that. He did that. Did he not? Integrity Matters. He did that. Okay, you guys. This was good. I'm glad we got all the way caught up. We got caught up on a lot. We'll get caught up on some more because we have not been getting caught up on our news feeds. And I have a hell of news feed for us to get into and go through. I'm going to read through the sheriff's indictment and highlight some points and see what there is. But you know what I'll do further? I'll go ahead. I'll make it a free member download on Patreon for the next 24 hours. So, and then it'll just go back to regular documents feed. But if you want to read through it, you can have it. I'm going to post it on Patreon. All you have to do is follow, just opt in for the free membership. Just go on ahead. And between now and tomorrow is yours if you want to read through it yourself. You can also go and find it on the internet too. But if you don't have to look, because it'll be posted for you on Patreon. Okay. So we'll get to it eventually, but I mean, shouts out to Sheriff Hutson. I feel sorry for her. Being a woman in a high pressure job is hard enough. You know, it's just unfortunate if she got, you know, if her office got caught with its pants down, not handling business, and these are the repercussions of a long systemic issues, then that's just, you know, this is what they do on your exit, especially if people don't like you. They're going to pick everything apart that you did. You know, I just hope that we don't hear something intentional, but you know, I mean, if she tried to make lemonade for 4 years and just unfortunately could not make that lemonade and did her best, I'm sure with a good attorney, they will work this thing out. But at the end of the day, all those 10 people escaping from the New Orleans jail, baby, they had to make somebody accountable. I'm sure somebody got an office off of that. You know what I'm saying? On some off of me, right? Somebody made that their running platform to take her failure. Why I'm saying is failure as the jailbreak as their platform to win office, okay, to win a seat. So it's unfortunate, and she'll be all right. Hopefully she has a good lawyer and some people to help her get through this process. And thank you. Someone said good content. I appreciate that. Thank you. Oh, I enjoyed the catch up too. You guys know I am a news junkie. I am such a news junkie. So this is I do this with or without you guys like every day. I probably do this for about 2 hours on my own every day. Just get caught up on news stories all over the country. But I do love the areas of the country that have you caught the joke. I do like the areas that share court proceedings because we can hear about the stories all day, but getting to see the actual hearings is priceless. You know what I mean? I love calling the court to order and hearing everything happening, going over to the clerk of courts, pulling down the paperwork, like doing the full 360 of what happened. News stories are good and all that, but when you can do the full 360 and read the documents and then also see the hearings, there's just some parts of the country that just, we can get the documents, we can see the hearings and all of the things. So that's why we're there. Okay. Anyway, you guys, I love you guys. Have a good afternoon. I might come back a little bit later, depending on my schedule. See what I got going on. Today is actually a teacher work day. So Boo Boo is home. I'm going to go run her out and do some errands real quick. And then I'll see about coming back a little bit later. If there's something, I know you guys have sent me a few things. If there's something that you want me to look into, let me know. Otherwise, it's teacher work day for you too. Yeah. I think you're in the Carolinas, right? Yeah, so there's teacher work day today. So let me go run Boo Boo somewhere. Probably go get her something to eat. And you know what? I need to handle something too. So we're gonna go handle that business and then we'll be back. Okay. All right, you guys, take care. Have a wonderful day. Make sure to hit the thumbs up on your way out. If you're new here, subscribe. Why don't you? Set your notifications to all and hit your notifications because baby, they have changed up the way notifications are being fed. And if you don't hit on those notifications, baby, they will automatically turn off for that subscription, even if you're subscribed. So because I saw a whole video on it from YouTube about subscription feed and what they're finding. So to avoid having people be annoyed by the influx and tons of notifications, they're taking the cue that if someone does not engage the notification, whatever that amount of time is, they're going to turn that notification off. Okay. I'll share the video with you I saw. And it is like a YouTube, it's from the YouTube creator videos. So it's a YouTube video. So it's just telling you what their fix was for people not to turn off to not be bothered by too many notifications, because I think they feel like people, when they subscribe to channels, they automatically put all and they don't always hit on all. And then they're finding that people turn off notifications, but YouTube wants you to come, but they want you to come for what you want to come for. So it's a whole thing. Anyway, we'll talk about it. I feel like we talked about it a day or two ago in members. And I just want to highlight to any of you, if you're not in members, you're missing out. We talk about a lot and we've been doing it in the mornings and it's been really, really fun. So if you're not able to make it, that's fine because replay is real. Okay. Anyway, you guys take care. Have a wonderful day. We're keeping up on all of the cases that we talked about today and so many more. Okay. I'll talk to you guys later. Have a wonderful day and I'll see you guys a little bit later. Bye guys.